What's going on, my Epictastic Nation? Welcome back to the channel. If you're a returning and new member, this is Joshua Drake here of Epictastic Joshua, and I'm giving you guys my thoughts on Plankton, the movie. This is the other Netflix film, the second of a series of SpongeBob films, spin-off films for Netflix, with the first one being released in 2024, which was the Sandy Cheeks movie, which I did not see. This is, of course, based on the TV series of the same name and stars Mr. Lawrence as Plankton, along with the cast of the original series. Plankton's tangled love story with his sentient computer wife goes sideways when she takes a stand and decides to destroy the world without him. Now, if you know this channel very well, one thing I will say that I am a big fan of SpongeBob SquarePants. I've been a big fan of SpongeBob SquarePants since I was a little kid, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the SpongeBob. Classic SpongeBob seasons were great. Even the seasons after the movie, a lot of them I really did enjoy. I haven't been watching some of the newer episodes like I usually would, but I will say SpongeBob has had relevant staying power since 1999. And when it comes to his movies track record, I really enjoyed the first movie. Sponge on the Water is my favorite. I didn't hate Sponge on the Run. We're getting another film this year for theaters, but I did not see the Sandy Cheeks movie because I heard how bad it was. But I went into this one pretty curious because I am a SpongeBob fanatic, and this is what I will say. This is definitely watchable. I didn't expect a lot out of this, but you know what, I will say this is an entertaining enough movie that is very much the spirit of the show. It ain't classic SpongeBob, but I'll say this is I'll take what I can get when it comes to this. Going off into the positives is the voice cast. I really like the voice acting here in this. Each of the voice actors here are really entertaining to watch. They still keep that chemistry from the show. But I will say, of the actors here, what I really liked here is that this is completely focused on Plankton here, and they're trying to make Plankton a lot more sentimental, a lot more sympathetic here, and also teach them the lessons of empathy. So this is something I actually really did like. But you also see how flashbacks of how he and his computer wife Karen has started out, but also how rocky it has gone up to this point. So that was something I was actually really excited to see what they would come up with, and I think they did the best job they could when it comes to this. I really did like that storyline, and it does make use for some fun moments and some great heartfelt moments, because Plankton has always been evil, but you know what, sometimes he does have a little bit of a heart here. You do see some heart and imagination that's put into this, and I did enjoy the fact that there is a lot of color in here, and there were some fun musical numbers here, even though I think you could do without the musical numbers here personally. But for what this was, I get what you were going for. So I will give it the benefit of the doubt in terms of what you were doing here. The animation styles used is pretty good for the most part. A lot of 3D animation is pretty good at times, even though there are some moments I do wish we could use a little bit of 2D animation. But you know what, I do get what this was going for, and you could tell that the writers of this, they love SpongeBob. Even though the writer, they love SpongeBob. So I would definitely say, if it's not classic SpongeBob, but if they are handling stuff like this in the way it should be handled with some class and some respect, I think we could have some pretty good, decent SpongeBob animated movies, because this is actually pretty capable and pretty interesting. There are moments in here that are genuinely funny. Not laugh out loud funny, but there were some jokes here that worked and some jokes didn't work a lot here. And the soundtrack is pretty good here for the most part. So it's a pretty good soundtrack. I like the musical numbers. The voice acting of the cast is still really great here. Of course, Mr. Lawrence nails it as Plankton. He's always got the character down ever since the show's beginnings in 1999. Jill Talley, who is the wife of Tom Kenny, she's still very good at Karen, the computer wife.
Of course, you're gonna have me play the freaking SpongeBob clip.
Oh my Karen, oh my Karen, oh my computer wife Karen.
I always really enjoyed their chemistry together. You also have Tom Kenny as SpongeBob, which he's here, even though he could feel a little bit sidelined, but you know what, he does good here. You have Roger Bumpus as Squidward, still grouchy as a mofo.
So thanks for nothing.
Kind of interested to see if they would give him a spinoff, but not much you can do with Squidward in the spinoff because he's a grumpy ass bitch.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Patrick is still awesome, Sandy is still awesome, Mr. Krabs, Mrs. Puff, Pearl Krabs. There is one thing they do with him, which I know this is in the show, that I've seen a few clips of it, where you have like the girls like having their own little girlfriendship group, so that's pretty cool. I know some people isn't going to take too kindly of it, but the voice acting here is still very good here. Everyone, I think, does do a pretty strong job for this. And it's 84 minutes. It gets you straight in, and it gets you straight out. Not a lot of dilly-dallying like any SpongeBob movie would. So that's definitely a plus when it comes to it. So that's epictastic of them to do. In terms of some of my negatives, I will say some of the animation, of course, can be a little bit iffy for some people. I will give it that. I will agree on that. But at the same time, I get what they're going for with this animation. So it doesn't really bother me. Some of the side characters or characters of the show do get a little bit sidelined here, which is another one of my issues. And I will say there are a few moments of jokes that didn't really work for me. A lot of it did work, but it still shows that you have that classic tone of the show, so I definitely will give credit to where credit is due. But overall, I will say this is an entertaining enough, interesting film that I think is very worth your time. It's not going to go down as the greatest SpongeBob movie ever, but for what it was, I definitely had a lot more fun than I was expecting. And SpongeBob would like to say some words. Did you think it was fun, SpongeBob? He said he thought it was pretty decent. Not one of his best in his track record, but it was definitely better than that Sandy Cheeks movie that you did.
Yeah, it was better.
But anyways, me and SpongeBob, my plushie here, we're going to go ahead and give this a highly recommended. If you are a big fan of SpongeBob, we would recommend this, or I would recommend this. But if you are not the biggest fan of this little yellow sea creature, you're not going to enjoy it that much. So I will say, know who you are going into this. I'm going to go ahead and give it a highly recommended. Well, that's going to do it for the video that you just watched. If you want to see more, my channel icon is up here. If you want to see more content from me, all my social medias are right here in this end card. I will also leave a playlist and a video here for you to see what the channel is about. As always, acknowledge me, stay epictastic, join the epitasticness, and you guys keep it cool.